And welcome everybody to Big Paulie's World, the Sports Sim channel, and the GSW match of the week. Well, today it's going to be the GSW card of the week because in celebration of gaining 100 subscribers on the channel, we are going to do the entire Detroit Circuit card. The main event you see there is going to be Jim Londos, the reigning world champion, against Terry Funk. And let me come on camera here for a moment. We'll go through the card in full. How you doing, everybody? It is February 2nd, 2021 as I record this. A rather chilly day here in Tampa with a high of 53 degrees. It's probably way colder in Detroit, where we virtually will be for this card. 8 matches. We're adding an 8th match. Usually I do 7 matches a card, but because of the 100 subscriber mark that has been attained by this channel, we're going to add an 8th match. 8th match, a 13-man over-the-top rope battle royal, which will be our semi-main event. It's going to feature Andre the Giant and the sumo wrestling star that turned professional about a decade or two ago, Akebono. They will be headlining. Let's show you the card. And there it is there. Londos against Funk will be our last bout of 8. We're going to open up with Mark Lewin against the Sheik. They used to call, later in Lewin's career, they called him the Maniac. Dr. Wagner Jr. Facing off against Paul London. Wagner Jr. is an unrestricted free agent, new term that I came up with. Made a scheduling change after week 5 where anybody who has a belt point could stay in the circuit of their choice, but if you have attained more than 5 belt points in singles or 10 in tag, you're an unrestricted free agent. You can go wherever you wish. In another match we're going to have Chris Adams against Buddy Rogers. Yes, the Buddy Rogers who was the only man to ever be the NWA and WWF champion. Nikita Koloff against Freddie Blassie. The Miller Brothers against the atomic pair of El Santo and Gory Guerrero. Dick the Bruiser against Wild Bill Longson. I couldn't fit Wild into the posters, so we just stuck it with Bill. And then we have the featured undercard match, which will go 30 minutes. If this was the semi-main, it would go 45, between Dick the Bruiser and Wild Bill Longson. The Battle Royal that I mentioned with Andre and Akebono. Eddie Gilbert, who is another unrestricted free agent, who was a 3-time junior heavyweight champ in the early days of GSW. He will be on the Battle Royal, and the 10 singles competitors, barring injuries, that were shown on the undercard. And then we have the big main event. We have Jim Londos and we have Terry Funk. So back to me. Hello, everybody. Let's get you down to the ring. Now, because we're doing 8 different matches, I'm going to keep a little graphic in the lower left to tell you where we are on the card. This first match is already set to go. It's Mark Lewin and Eddie Creechman. I've made some notes here on my little notepad, if you could see them all. And we have 8 matches to do. I'm just going to put the results in for now, and then I will put the notes in later. That if you follow my Delphi board, not my Delphi board, but Tom Vogel's Wrestling's Finest Delphi board, and this is the game we use, Wrestling's Finest version 3. If you like it, go get it. It's a great game. It's kind of like the Stratomatic for the wrestling business. And this first match was a main event back in the day of the big-time wrestling NWA circuit in Detroit. You could see YouTube video of at least 2 of the matches that these two had between Mark Lewin. Mark Lewin was a babyface prior to him becoming the more maniacal Maniac Mark Lewin, and then the Purple Haze in Florida in the 80s, among other places. He goes against the Sheik. The Sheik was managed back in the day by Eddie Creechman. He will be his manager here in GSW. This is a one-fall 30-minute time limit match. All the undercard bouts will be 30 minutes, and then our world title main event will be a 60-minute time limit match. So here we go. I have a better chance of figuring out what my wife is thinking than trying to pick a winner in this one, so I give up. So VOG sees this as a very even match. The computer runs both men, and I just sit back and commentate here. Mark Lewin against the Sheik with Eddie Creechman. And we have chaos and carnage in the beginning of this match. Both men have been cut open and both lose 50 points in stamina and then lose additional points for the cuts. Both men lacerated, as Gordon Soley used to say. Creechman, not Creechman, but the Sheik loses 25 points on cuts to go of the 50-point damage loss, and Lewin has lost 13 to go on top of his 50 damage loss. So both men are going to lose stamina levels here rather quickly. Arm hold by Lewin, and that's a 5-point stamina loss, and a legal leg hold by Lewin. So both these guys like the brawl, but you'll see both these guys go scientific if they need to and just go through the basic rudiments of wrestling holds. And you will see that more out of Lewin than probably out of the Sheik, whose scientific wrestling move would be a good jab of the pencil to the forehead of somebody. Kick by the Sheik, legal chop by the Sheik, illegal punches by the Sheik, and that's what you would kind of expect. A legal throw by the Sheik, and a face rake by the Sheik. So right now we are very even on damage, minus 86 for Lewin and minus 85 for Creechman. Illegal punches by the Sheik, so Lewin falls farther behind. Both men wearing the claret right now. A big punch to the jaw of Lewin. Illegal throat punt. Illegal throat punt? No, illegal throat chop by the Sheik. And an auto control loss. We go back to Lewin, but Lewin cannot take advantage. And it goes back to the Sheik, and illegal punches thrown, but no pin. Illegal chop by the Sheik. And a series of chops to the chest of Mark Lewin. No pin. So on we go. We're 6 minutes in. Remember, the time limit here is 30. Disqualify check, and wouldn't be a total shock here if there was a disqualification, but there is none. Disqualify check. Again, no disqualification. The Sheik just decides to use punches. Auto control loss. A pinhold was countered by the Sheik that Lewin attempted. Legal elbow by the Sheik. Pile driver by the Sheik countered by Lewin. Disqualify check. It's like these men don't know each other so well that you're going to see a lot of counters. Legal knee here by Lewin with a knee lift there, and we are now at minus 123 on Lewin, minus 91 on the Sheik. Both men cut, but both men seemingly not in jeopardy of a stoppage due to their cuts. Face rake by Lewin. Submission move. No submission. Lewin was a face as late in his career as I'd say like 79 or 80 with Dallas, the Dallas circuit. And before he went all Maniac Mark Lewin, Purple Haze, he would actually speak to reporters, ringside men like Bill Mercer of the day and so forth. The Sheik now calling for Creechman on help, and hands him a small piece of metal. Specialty move sleeper, and that does not result in a submission on the Sheik. Legal arm hold. We're a third of the way through the time limit, a little beyond that by now. Another sleeper attempt, and the Sheik uses the ropes and gets out of that. Both men low on strategy cards, so we're down to 2 for Lewin and 1 for the Sheik. A pin hold, and we're done. Sunset flip by Lewin, and the Sheik has prevailed. Not the Sheik has prevailed. The Sheik has been pinned. So a good result for the Sheik, for Lewin. There I go, messing up who won again. So Lewin will get 4 points in the rankings, since this was pretty much where they were going to point each other in the rankings. So he wins by sleeper hold, sends the Sheik off to whatever he dreams about. 13:20 was the time of the bout, sleeper, and both men were busted open. The damage was about even, 148 to 141. Sheik did a little better on damage, but he does not get away with the victory here. The rating of the match on the star rating was 3 even. So Lewin has won that. And we will be right back with our second match. And match number 2 is in the ring. We have Dr. Wagner Jr., one of our unrestricted free agents who comes and goes among the territories of GSW as he pleases. He's taking on Paul London. Wagner is a fill-in for Cowboy Bob Orton, who took off to the New York circuit when it was announced that the champions can pick their former champions can pick their territories of their choice. So he's over in New York. He was going to have a match with London based on a feud that developed the last time we were in Detroit. And Paul London, of course, was in the WWE for a little bit. Wagner should win this bout easy, being the two-time World Junior Heavyweight Champ. And Vogue agrees with me that Wagner should win this easy, as was the case with the first match. This is a one-fall 30-minute time limit match. First 6 matches will all be 30-minute time limits. And Paul London has acknowledged the fans, but Wagner Jr. submarines him with a forearm smash, so that's not good. Legal speed move by Wagner Jr. There is a Dr. Wagner with Senior, but the Senior is not mentioned, and he has also been in GSW before. And we have blood. We have our second straight match with blood. We have London with a cut, and he is. Oh yeah, he's losing blood at an alarming rate. A minus 30 cut to go along with a 20-point stamina loss, so that's a big stamina hit. Legal elbow by Paul London. So I check to make sure I am on. Ropes move, pile driver countered by Wagner, and eye gouge by Wagner Jr. Legal neck hold. Submission move, and you're not going to get a submission with the 0 in the third rating. Legal forearm by London. Legal throw by London. Kick countered by Wagner Jr. A ropes move, flying double axe, but that does not result in the pin. Legal knee. Pin hold, small package, but no pin resulting from it. London Star Press hits its mark, but no pin. Ropes move countered. Kick by Wagner Jr. As I said, he is the former two-time GSW Junior Heavyweight Championship with the weight limit of 225 pounds. Wagner whips London into the ropes and connects with a drop kick, and London has hit a stamina level. In fact, he is in bad shape now. Forgot to be doing the stamina checks here, and we got a long way to go in this bout. We are at 8:53. Ropes move countered by London. London tries the London Star Press again, but this one was countered. You do that one too many times, they're going to pick up on it. Wagner Jr., no action. Submission move countered. Pin attempt here by Wagner Jr., not there. Pin hold by Wagner Jr., a side roll, and that did not score. Legal arm hold by Wagner, no action. Ropes move by London. Leg drop, and that does it. Paul London pinned in 13-18. Dr. Wagner Jr. wins. He will pick up 3 points in the rankings. And I'm sure he's looking at the World Junior Heavyweight Championship, which Hiro Matsuda right now holds. He upended Danny Hodge about a week or two ago. Hodge just had a rematch with Matsuda in Tampa, but they went to a 60-minute draw. So when that happens, the champion keeps the belt, and Matsuda is still the world champion. That is world champion of the junior heavyweights. That match went 13-18 and got 2.5 stars. And while I'm putting this next match together, let me show you the roll call of champions, and we will be right back. Time for our third bout, which is gentleman Chris Adams, the former world champion of the world class circuit after they left the NWA. He was their world champion for a spell. He's facing Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. Rogers, who debuted in year 3 last year in GSW but did not get any traction. Okay, remember, we have some of the greats of all time in GSW, so your big name superstars sometimes don't click and they settle for the mid card or the lower part of the card. And some of your mid card guys in their day probably have struggled. They probably struggle to get into the preliminary part of the cards. All across the country and all over the world here in GSW, 16 territories at present, and maybe we might do a few more someday. So, we get you back to action here with our third match as I move some of the slides around. And let's see here. I've already set up the trading folds. So let's see if Buddy Rogers can pull something out here. The Nature Boy, the original Nature Boy. Action outside the ring. Adams with a body slam to the mat. Adams, of course, came over after a career in England to Texas, where he mostly stayed throughout the rest of his career, although he was with Mid-South for a little while, or by that point they had become the UWF, Bill Watts' promotion in Oklahoma, parts of Texas, parts of Arkansas, and Louisiana. Talk about a big circuit. And leg drop and no pin on Rogers there. No action. Legal speed move by Adams. You gotta think that Adams will be able to move around Mr. Rogers with considerable aplomb. Legal whip to the ropes. No action. No action, no action. Illegal throat chop by Adams. Adams has also been a heel in GSW, teaming up with Gino Hernandez in a dynamic duo, but as of late, he has seen the light. A body slam by Rogers on Adams, no pin. Buddy Rogers, of course, lost the WWF Championship in stunning fashion in under a minute in 1963 to Bruno Sammartino. And at one point, he was also the NWA champion, but he lost to Lou Thez under some rather questionable circumstances in a one-fall match in Toronto earlier in 1963. As we go through the match, you're not missing much. Submission attempt, we'll play it through. No, nothing there. We have 55 off on Adams and 28 off on Buddy Rogers. The real story behind Rogers losing the title was the fact that the NWA was not very pleased that he was only basically defending his championship in the northeastern part and not all over the country. So they took the title off of him, and Lou Thez said to Buddy Rogers right before their match in Toronto, we could do this the easy way or the hard way. Auto control loss alternating between Rogers and Adams here. Let's get back to the match. A headlock. And that does not result in a pin. He grinded Adams on the mat with a headlock. Ouch. Disqualified check. Rogers using punches. Crowd frustrated with the lack of action, which was surprising between these two. A super kick was countered by Adams, so Rogers must have seen a little film on him, or a little tape, or whatever it is they call it these days that has replaced tape, maybe, hard drives. Files. Eye gouge by Rogers. Pinhold by Adams. Nothing doing. A body slam by Adams. Illegal punches by Adams. Score. It's now minus 75 for Adams, minus 44 for Rogers. Looks like Adams has been winded a little bit so far in the progress of this match. A super kick. And that caught Rogers flush, but he does get out of it before the count of 3. As I look to see who's calling, and I see it's more junk telephone calls, which I get all the time. Out of control loss by both men. Outside the ring action, Adams using arm holds. Big punch that staggered Rogers there. Rogers attacks Adams' arm and has him in a hammerlock. So about 12 minutes through the bout. Fans thinking there could be more action, and there we go. Rogers runs Adams face first into the ring post. Could we see blood in our third straight match? Illegal eye gouge by Rogers onto Adams. So Rogers just doing a little bit better right now than the gentleman. Drop kick by Rogers, countered. So Adams has seen film of the Nature Boy. And a kick to Adams right above the belt line of Buddy Rogers. They will call it legal. A super kick, that was countered. Adams going to the well perhaps one too many times with that move. Double throat chop. Rogers has control. A pile driver. And we keep going. We're more than midway through the 30-minute time limit. Rogers throws Adams out of the ring, but Adams gets back. No count out. Figure 4 grapevine. But that does not pin Adams. It's what they used to call a figure 4 back in the day. Double axe handle by Adams. Nothing there. Kick by Adams. Back and forth match we go. And both men have now lost fatigue levels. I would say at the very least. Legal forearm by Adams. He's 53 points away from losing another fatigue level, and Rogers is at 50. Adams loses 5 points every time he hits a fatigue wall, I guess you could call it, and Rogers only loses 4. Auto control loss, ropes move, legal punches by Rogers, and figure 4, nothing there. Disqualified check, no DQ, legal leg hold. So this is starting to look like it's going to be a draw. And Adams has a suplex attempt countered. Rope move countered by Adams off of Rogers'. Headlock countered. So far we have had 13 counters in this match. Adams has had 6 and Rogers has had 7. And Rogers nails Adams as he tries to re-enter the ring, knocking him back to the arena floor. He makes it back in, beats the count. Legal speed move by Rogers. No action by Adams. No action by Rogers. It's kind of been a pensive match. Auto control loss by Rogers. Legal knee by Adams. We're nearing the end of the time limit here. We're at 24 minutes. Pinhold. A kick by Rogers, an auto control loss by Rogers, auto control loss by Adams. So both of these men just struggling to gain any momentum. A legal turnbuckle move by Rogers onto Adams. Rogers with an illegal turnbuckle move again. Legal hair pull by Rogers. The story is on Adams that he wore a hairpiece at one point in his career, and I think Steve Austin tells that tale. So I hope Rogers knew where to yank. Illegal hair pull, auto control loss. We're nearing the end of the time limit. Ropes move. Adams about to hit another stamina level hit. Illegal choking by Rogers. Legal arm hold countered. Legal whip to the ropes by Adams. No action. We're under 2.5 minutes now, or just at the 2.5 minutes to go. No action. Auto control loss. Auto control loss. Auto control loss. Outside the ring action. And it might not matter, but Adams is closing in on making another stamina hit. Pinhold countered by Adams. Last minute of the bout. Stick and move. No pin. Illegal arm hold by Adams. Time limit has expired. Illegal throw by Adams right at the bell. But we will not continue with this bout. It goes a 30-minute draw. Both men will get 2 points for the draw in the rankings. So that's a +2 for both. We go 30 minutes. And kind of a lackluster bout. But Adams held his own against the Nature Boy. So we end the third bout. We will go to bout number 4 right after this. And on we go to bout number 4. Nikita Koloff and Freddie Blassie. Again, we got a lot of evenly matched pairings tonight. Koloff and Blassie have been in GSW since it began a little over 3 years ago. Both men have not had a lot of success, although Blassie got off to a poor start in his GSW career and has come on nicely in the action he has seen. This will be a one fall 30-minute time limit match, and this will get us to the halfway point of our card. So off we go. Prediction is even. Trying to pick a winner in this one is trying to please a woman. You can't. So this is one fall 30 minutes. Our last bout went to a draw, so hopefully we'll see a little more action here in this. Blassie charges into the ring, but Koloff was ready and pummels him with punch after punch, so Blassie takes a 30-point hit. And now Blassie is cut. Chair shot across the head by Koloff onto Blassie. By the way, Koloff is the babyface and Freddie Blassie the heel, although Koloff's acting very heelish right now. 23-point stamina hit and a loss of 15 in a bonus of 15 loss of stamina. The cut is a bonus off of the stamina, I should say. So Blassie is almost about to lose another level. In fact, he does with the power move by Koloff. Koloff was best known as a Russian heel in Mid-Atlantic until the car crash ended the career of Magnum TA, and then he turned babyface, and he went back heel in the early 90s in WCW, but he's pretty much been a babyface in his career. Blassie, of course, a legend on the West Coast and the East Coast of the United States. In Louisiana, and then I was thinking L.A., and I was thinking Los Angeles, he was a babyface, and in New York, basically, he was a heel. But he was also a great in the southern circuits, mainly Atlanta, in his career. And there's a very good autobiography of him that he came out with, I would say about a decade and a half ago, if anybody ever wants to read it. Legal forearm by Koloff. Body slam. Pin attempt on Koloff. No, not going to get him this early. Kick by Blassie. And a legal low blow by Blassie. That'll even up the odds. Outside the ring, Blassie hits Koloff with a chair shot, so he responds in kind. And now Koloff getting closer to his first stamina hit. An eye gouge by Blassie. Blassie in control. Vampire bite. The KO punch. But that was countered. Power slam by Koloff, so Koloff getting a lot of high impact moves in. Blassie still cut. Illegal choking by Koloff. Submission move countered. Legal turnbuckle move by Blassie. Koloff closing in on losing a stamina level. We're 6 minutes into the bout. Kick countered. Specialty move. Vampire bite again. With a KO punch and no pin. A body slam, and now Koloff has lost the stamina level. With that, he's now lost 9 points of stamina. Stamina right now 109 with a 23 cut for Blassie and 67 off for Koloff. Legal throat chop by Blassie. Legal eye gouge by Blassie. If there's anything illegal, Blassie's probably going to do it. Legal punches by Blassie. Neckbreaker by Blassie. But that was countered. Legal arm hold by Koloff. Koloff trying to slow the bout down. Now, I forgot to see... No, I had it down. I was thinking of checking the rating of the last match, but I had already wrote it down. Sometimes when I'm doing this by myself, and I'm not doing this on the computer, I forget what the ratings is, and I will just put down 2.5. 2.5, because I won't know unless I have a reason to believe it might have been a better match. Legal arm hold, disqualified check, and we have no disqualification. A legal forearm results in a pin move by Koloff, and that was his first of the match. Power slam by Koloff, countered by Blassie. Illegal nerve hold by Blassie. All those trips to the Asian continent paying off for Blassie. Blassie was very over in Japan in his career. Legal choking by Blassie. In auto control loss, gives it back to Koloff. Koloff a whip to the ropes. No action. Legal whip to the ropes by Koloff. Legal turnbuckle by Blassie. One of the wrestlers from the back comes out and grabs a chair and takes a ringside seat. Legal power move by Koloff. Nothing doing there. Legal whip to the ropes by Blassie. Nothing there. Blassie a foreign object, but Koloff saw it and had a brilliant counter for it. Match is evened up as we are now a little past halfway at 16:49. Sickle, the Russian Sickle, ally who has just come to the ringside, rings the timekeeper's bell. Referee realizes what has happened, and Fred Blassie is disqualified for interference. And I do believe that was the Sheik who interfered in the bout. So Koloff will win by DQ and get 2 points in the rankings, and Blassie will conversely lose 2. The bout went 17:45, and the Sheik rang the timekeeper's bell for the DQ. And in the next card held in Detroit for the Detroit circuit, you'll probably see a Koloff Sheik battle. And it was 125 off of minus 125 was the total loss by Koloff, and 164 or 23 cut for Blassie. Used to be in wrestling's finest that if you hit 90 on cuts, that was the point, because this game is basically based on the 80s. And the storylines of the 80s were that you could lose a bout on cuts, like you could lose a bout on cuts in boxing. So, let me see here. I'm going to go to my little notes section, and I'll show you how I do this. And go to week 10. Actually, I do not have a week 10 set up yet, because this is the first card of week 6. So I'm going to do week 10 skid and make sure that Lewin returns, because I forgot to write that down from earlier in the card. Right, Lewin returns because he's brand new, and as long as he doesn't lose any points, as long as he doesn't lose, you keep bringing the new guys back. And we're going to have, let's see here, we're going to have Koloff and the Sheik do battle next week if all things stay the same. I should also point out, as I save this skid, because with 16 circuits you gotta do a lot of things in advance. So this is going to be a week 10 skid. Okay, that if somebody is pinned, they must leave the territory unless they are a former champion. So let's see here. The Sheik stays. Paul London will go, and Adams and Rogers went to a draw. Koloff just beat Blassie by DQ, so Paul London will have to find another place to compete in GSW, and I do a lottery for. Actually, I just pick the 16 circuits in random and say, okay, who do you want? Who do you want? Like if it's say New York gets the first pick, well, maybe they would want Paul London because London used to be in WWE, or say Johnny Weaver is in the free agent pool this time because he lost earlier in this loop in Charlotte. Charlotte could claim him back up or go for somebody else. I try to make a choice for them that they would probably make. So this has been it for match number 4. We will take another break and come back with you for the tag team match. Consider this kind of an intermission. And we're back, ready for the 5th match of 8 we have for you on this GSW card. I'm Big Paulie. We have reached the second half of our card. I thought this would take longer. We did the first 4 matches in 39 minutes. So I was thinking this would take a couple of hours, so don't get too comfortable. And I'll try to mention in the notes what time the main event started in the video. But with the graphic here on the lower left, you could also keep track. When we get to match number 8, that will be the main event. In the ring right now is a couple tag teams. Now, in GSW, tag teams, you own the tag team rights and the singles rights. Let's say you had Jack Briscoe. Jack Briscoe could be owned by one territory for singles, and as a tag team, they could be owned by somebody else. Like, say, Jack Briscoe could compete in Tampa, but could compete as the Carolinas as heels because they were heels in about 82, 83 or so in the Mid Atlantic. But for the purposes of this match, we have the Miller brothers, Bill and Dan. Dan Miller competed in Tampa earlier in this loop, and they're going against Gory Guerrero and El Santo. They both compete in Mexico City, but as a tag team, they haven't won a championship yet, so they compete in Detroit. We ignore ropes moves, as per the house rules of Tommy Vogel. And we will get started with this match. It is a one fall 30-minute tag match. The tag teams are treated as a card. So we're going to have to take little random guesses as to who's doing what to whom. The Atomic Pair are considerable favorites, but the Miller brothers have been champions in GSW before. So they are no slouches. And let me bring up my card here. After this, we have our last singles bout, non-title singles bout, then the Battle Royal, then the World Title match. No sneak attack by the Miller brothers. And they go for a submission, nothing there. Okay, double team attempt by the Atomic Pair. El Santo is a legend in Mexico, as is Gory Guerrero. Started that old Guerrero family that has been in wrestling for numerous generations. Fan interaction. Crowd allows Atomic Pair to find an inner strength. Adoration of the crowd. They're over in Detroit. Suplex by the pair on one of the Miller brothers. Like I said, tag team batches on Wrestling's Finest takes a little bit of guesswork as to who's doing what to who. No action, illegal punches. The Miller brothers, I first saw them on tape back in 1990. There was this company that put out old wrestling matches, and there was like a wrestling's greatest heroes and wrestling's greatest villains, and they were on the last bout of the tape that I saw with the Fabulous Kangaroos, who are another legendary heel team. Outside the ring action, armhole. So far we're at minus 75 off of the Millers, and the Atomic Pair are at minus 5. You lose points more frequently in the tag team matches, although stamina levels go down less frequently. You see, the Millers are about to hit a stamina level, but the Atomic Pair are at a stamina right now of 122 and 5, which means they have to lose 122 points before they take a stamina hit of 5 points on the pin rating and less perhaps on submissions. Legal knee by the Miller brothers onto the chest of one of the members of the Atomic Pair. Like I said, we don't know who. Miller brothers know they're controlling the head, controls the body, so they have a standing headlock on either Gory or El Santo, and that reduces the stamina to 5. Illegal choking by the Millers. Legal headbutt by the Millers. Disqualified check, no DQ. And a counter by the Atomic Pair after a double team attempt was countered. Legal speed move by the Atomic Pair. Legal whip to the ropes and a couple. Tag out occurred. Double clothesline by the Millers, and the Atomic Pair lose 25 points. So the damage gap is closing, minus 92 for the Millers and 62 off for the Atomic Pair. Atomic Pair sidestep the move and take control. Figure 4, nothing there. Legal arm hold. Auto control loss. Auto control loss again outside the ring action, which doesn't result in anything. I've been showing you the wrong slide. Sorry, folks. Let me just fix that real fast, and I will be right with you again. Okay, I have like a... That's the right path. Okay, folks, I'm sorry. Get you back to the match. I've been showing you the wrong slide during the breaks between the matches, so I'll have to do a little editing. Legal neck hold by the atomic pair. See, double team attempt. 12-point loss for the Millers, who I think have lost the stamina level. Legal headbutt by the atomic pair. Kick by the atomic pair. Gory special. We know Gory Guerrero did that. No attempt. No, the submission was not successful. Pinhold. Miller Brothers have control. Disqualified check. No DQ. Successful tag out occurred. Double team. And it looked like the move backfired. Legal forearm by the Miller Brothers. And Miller Brothers leave the ring. And that increases their stamina level by plus 10. Bout even as to who's going to get the next stamina hit. Another successful tag occurred. No action. Remember, this match goes 30 minutes. Double team attempt. Miller Brothers perform a double backdrop to one of the members of Atomic Pair. Legal leg hold. Submission move. This will not be a submission. Flying body press by El Santo, but the Millers countered it. Pin hold by the Millers. No pin. Ropes move. No. Auto control loss. So far we have had only 3 pin attempts in the match. And a small package by one of the Millers onto one of the Atomics. Nothing there. No submission. Halfway through the bout now. Atomic pair thrown out of the ring. They come back in the ring. Illegal throat chop by the Millers. As I say, the Millers are no slouches as a tag team. But I don't think they have ever met the Atomics before. Body slam by the Miller Brothers. Suplex attempt. And that was successful. I think the Atomic pair have lost the stamina level. They're now at 29, 25, 3. Camel clutch. No submission. No action. Legal turnbuckle. Legal throw by the Atomics. No pin. A couple of tough teams here. Auto control loss. A pin hold countered. Body slam by the Millers. Auto control loss by the Millers. Atomic pair have control, but they lose control. So we've had 9 auto control losses, 5 of them to the Millers. Reverse neck breaker, which is a double team move, but that was countered. Camel clutch by the Atomics, that also was countered. So both of these guys, just both of these teams, I should say, because it's not a singles match. Thinking ahead, legal whip to the ropes by the Millers. Successful tag out. This is starting to look like this is going to be a draw. Arm holds. And another successful tag out. A legal leg hold by the Millers. Kick by the Millers. Legal chop by the Millers. So they get something going here. It's minus 193 off of the Millers and minus 228 off of the Atomic pair. Legal choking, legal pin attempt, no action. Back to El Santo. Miller Brothers have control, and we have blood now as the Miller Brothers slam the Atomic pair into the ring post, and they have a cut, a very slight cut of minus 8, and the stamina loss of minus 15 on top of that. Okay, submission, and nothing there. Auto control loss, Gory special, nothing there, so that was Gory Guerrero hitting a submission move on one of the Millers. Pin hold, and that's it. That's it. We have a pin, backslide. And we will say it was Gory Guerrero doing that to Bill Miller. So a good match. I thought it was going to go to a draw, but it does not. The Atomic Pair win in 26-38. They will get 4 points for the win. They haven't really had too many matches as a tag team. El Santo been legendary in the junior heavyweight game, winning the junior heavyweight championship at least 3 times that I can think of, and one of his reigns went over a year. So it was Bill Miller getting pinned by Gory Guerrero with a backslide. Okay, so the time of the match, 26:38. So it got in before the 30-minute time limit ended. 2:16 to 2:57. But there was an 8-point cut against the Atomic Pair. The match was 3.5 stars. So well done, guys. Good job. And let's see if there was any extracurriculars. There was not. So we will be back in just a moment with match number 6. So stand by. So this ought to be a good one. This is our last of the singles preliminary matches. It is Dick the Bruiser against Wild Bill Longson. One fall, 30-minute time limit. Both of these guys have been around quite a bit in GSW. Longson's one of these guys that really hasn't gained a lot of traction in GSW, but this is almost a mismatch here because Bruiser is rated at 135 and Longson is at 119. So if Longson should get a win of any kind, he would get a bonus point because he's facing somebody 16 points better than him right now in the rankings, and that didn't apply to any of the other matches we have had. Longson, if he is pinned, goes on the road because he has never been a champion in GSW, whereas Dick the Bruiser has. And he just came to the Detroit circuit from another circuit. So off we go with this match. Longson is the favorite here, so this ought to be interesting. And Bruiser caught a sneak attack attempt by Longson. Longson hits the ring like a tornado, but Bruiser sees him and puts the boots to him as he rolls him into the ring. Disqualified check, a possible DQ stop, a legal arm hold by Bruiser. Whip to the ropes by Bruiser. We're just going to call him Bruiser here. Kick by the Bruiser. Kick by the Bruiser again. So 53 points of damage already done. Auto control loss by the Bruiser. And now Longson with a kick at the 2:38 mark. Legal chop. Likely not a pin here. And Random Chance agrees with me. A pile driver attempt by Longson. Countered by the Bruiser. Submission move. Bear hug, but not a long-lasting submission hold. Legal whip to the ropes by the Bruiser. And again, submission. Body scissors. And that's not going to result in a submission there. I think Longson has already lost the stamina level with the early cannonade of moves by the Bruiser. Auto control loss, another auto control loss. Headlock by the Bruiser. Disqualified check. Longson uses punches. Longson with a spinning toe hold, but didn't spin enough. No submission. Countered of a pinhold by Longson. So Bruiser now in control. Legal power move, and Dick the Bruiser, who spent most of his career in the old WWA in Indianapolis, not to be confused with the WWA in Los Angeles. Legal power move. Although I imagine Bruiser's probably been to both Indianapolis and Los Angeles in his career. Chops to the chest of Longson. Bruiser's been a former champion in GSW. He was a champion of the old Western circuit. Legal punches by the Bruiser that were countered. A face rake by Longson. Legal headbutt by the Bruiser. Of course, Dick the Bruiser's real name was Richard Afils, and at one point he was playing professional football in the early 50s with the Green Bay Packers. Legal headbutt by the Bruiser. Legal punches by Longson. So this is going back and forth. Individual catcalls prompt Longson to shout back to the fans, a loss of concentration. Legal punches by the Bruiser. kicked by the Bruiser. Bruiser will just brawl with anybody. And illegal punches by Longson. An auto control loss, another auto control loss, and a headlock by the Bruiser. We're 11-11 into the bout. Ace is wild, 34 off of the Bruiser and 110 off for Longson. Submission move, no submission. Body slam by the Bruiser, countered. Legal power move by Longson, but that didn't have a lot of effect, only a 5 off reduction for the Bruiser. Outside the ring, and we have blood. There will be blood, especially on the Detroit circuit. Cut on the left eye, left eyebrow. Blood starts to pour out of Bruiser's eye, so that's an 18-point stamina hit, and 18-point cut hit, and a 15-point stamina hit. So he lost 33 on that one move. That could be a big turning point for Longson. Neck hold, kick to the gut. No pin. Longson has control. And a jumping pile driver. That's a big impact hit. Longson has now forged ahead of Bruiser on damage, or Bruiser has fallen behind. Longson with an arm hold, headlock. And Wild Bill Longson grabs Bruiser and drags him out of the ring. Longson uses a chair several times. And Bruiser has a massive cut. Wrestlers hit the ringside area but are too late. Bruiser has suffered a serious injury, so the match went 15 minutes. Bruiser will win. He's only going to be out 1 day, so we'll hit the post-match chart and see if anything happened there. No, so it's an injury, but it's not a big one. So Bruiser wins by DQ. He only gained 1 point. For the DQ win, it went 15 minutes even, according to the readout here in the center. And it was 132.18 off of the Bruiser. And I'm going to write down unsuccessful attempt to injure by Longson. So Longson gave a good chance to get ahead in the rankings away. 132-15. 114 even off of Longson, which I have down as 113 for some reason, and it went 2.5 stars. So next will be our Battle Royal, and stand by for that, please. And off we go. I think this is the first ever Battle Royal I have shown on GSW. 13 men over the top. And the combatants are Andre the Giant, Eddie Gilbert, Eki Bono, Dick the Bruiser, Wild Bill Longson, Freddie Blassie, Nikita Koloff, Buddy Rogers, Chris Adams, Paul Wagner Jr., Dr. Wagner Jr., Paul London, Mark Lewin, and the Sheik. And I'm going to move this down a little bit, but it's not going to let me. So off we go. Akebono against Blassie. Determine the first elimination, but it doesn't happen here. Now a gang up on Dr. Wagner Jr., Lewin, Rogers, and Koloff, and we have our first elimination, that being Dr. Wagner Jr. He is gone. Start our next battle. It is Rogers against Adams, just like the preliminary match we saw, and this time Rogers gets the better of Adams. We're down 2 down, 11 to go. Wild Bill Longson and Akebono. Akebono just joined the Detroit circuit, and Wild Bill Longson is gone. Akebono hearing the cheers of the crowd, and I think the crowd is hoping it's not Andre versus Akebono in the final 2. Freddie Blassie against the Sheik. No honor among thieves. They can't settle anything. Nikita Koloff and Paul London, who's going out the door after getting pinned tonight. But he could pick up some ratings points to recoup some of his losses in the earlier bout. We have Dick the Bruiser and the Sheik ganging up on Buddy Rogers. Buddy Rogers is gone. So 4 down and 9 to go. Blassie against Nikita Koloff. And this time Koloff gets the better of Blassie. So that's 5 down and 8 to go. We have Dick the Bruiser facing Paul London and the Sheik. The Bruiser survives. Andre the Giant and Nikita Koloff, couple of baby faces, but somebody's going to have to try to knock out Andre. It's Andre attacking, and Nikita is out the door. So that is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down and 7 to go. Dick the Bruiser and Paul London. Dick the Bruiser is out. So babyface against babyface there, but what can they do to Paul London with him going to another territory perhaps? Now Andre and the Sheik trying to get Andre out. Fat chance. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left. So we're 7 down, 6 to go. Akebono and Mark Lewin. Lewin trying to force Akebono out of the ring. Nothing doing. Now a gang up on Paul London. London is done. That was Andre, Akebono, and the Sheik sending London falling down. Eddie Gilbert against Andre. Fat chance on Eddie Gilbert's going to get him there. Now it's Eddie and Akebono, and I imagine that'll have the same result. And it does. The Sheik against Akebono. Akebono survives again. So this could come down to Akebono against Andre the Giant. A couple baby faces, but I'm sure the fans would love to see Akebono pull it off. It is the Sheik and Eddie Gilbert against Andre. Nothing doing. Eddie will try solo against Andre. Not going to get him. Sheik and Akebono. Akebono survives. Andre going to try to send Mark Lewin out. That didn't happen. The Sheik and Eddie Gilbert now fighting. Nothing doing there. Eddie Gilbert trying to get the Sheik out. Now the Sheik trying to get Andre out. Akebono and the Giant hooking up for the first time. No result. They hook up again. Nothing doing. A third time. Nothing doing. Mark Lewin and the Sheik renewing their rivalry from the first bout of the card. Nothing doing. Now Andre trying to get the Sheik out. Not happening. Back to the Sheik and Lewin. Eddie Gilbert and the Sheik again. We're down to 5 men, by the way. It's now Mark Lewin and Eddie Gilbert. Mark Lewin trying to get the Giant out. And now we have a gang up on the Sheik, but that's no sale. Now we have 3 men against Eddie Gilbert. Eddie Gilbert is out, and we're down to 4. We're down to Andre, Akebono, Mark Lewin, and the Sheik. Andre and Akebono. Akebono survives. Akebono attacking. Andre survives. Akebono against the Sheik. Now it's Andre and Akebono again. The Sheik and Mark Lewin, who you got to think are fighting for third place here. Akebono and Mark Lewin. Akebono and Lewin again. Now the Sheik and Andre teaming up to get Akebono out. Andre now looking at the Sheik and Akebono. These battle royals make for some strange bedfellows. Mark Lewin is out in 4th place. So it's now down to Andre the Giant, Akebono, and the Sheik. Andre gets the Sheik out. So here we go. The battle of titans between Andre and Akebono. And Andre wins. Didn't take long. It took a couple of minutes, and the combined time of the battle royal was 21:13. And guess who won the pony? Andre at 21:13. So he'll pick up 5 ratings points. Yeah, the way I do battle royals is if there are 19 men or less, you get 5 points for winning. You get nothing for finishing second. If the battle royal is between 20 and 29 combatants, then you get 6 points, and if it's a full 30, you get 7. And you can have tag team battle royals too. You could have 16 tag teams in a battle royal, and I do that based on total competitors. So if it was 16 tag teams, you'd get 7 points for winning a 16-team battle royal. That's how I would do that. We are going to come back with the main event. We'll go through the order of elimination again. Dr. Wagner Jr. was first, followed by Chris Adams, then Wild Bill Lungson, Buddy Rogers, Freddie Blassie, Nikita Koloff, Dick the Bruiser, Paul London, Eddie Gilbert, Mark Lewin. The Sheik was third, Akebono was second, and Andre the Giant took the whole shooting match, as you think he would. He's so dominant in battle royals in wrestling's finest. So we are off to our main event in just one moment. And off we go, ladies and gentlemen, to our main event. This is a one fall 60-minute time limit match. The challenger will have to score a pin on the champion or a submission within the 60-minute time frame to become the champion. Challenger is Terry Funk, and we use his 78 minus card, meaning pre-1978, when he held that NWA championship that you see he's holding. And the champion, of course, Jim Londos, who was the first non-shooter to become the GSW World Champion. Only one of 6 men in the first 3 years and change I have been doing GSW that has won the title. And these are one fall matches. Like doing one fall matches. I'm not a big fan of doing 2 out of 3. Because 2 out of 3 could lead to complications. So let's start the match. Londos heavily favored. Says Vlog. Auto control loss to start the match. No action by Terry Funk. Auto control loss by Londos. So both men just kind of pensive right now. An illegal face rake by Terry Funk. Of course, he's going to cheat. And double chop to the head by Londos. No blood, no pin. Control loss by Londos. Illegal punches by Funk. No action. Funk confuses confidence with cockiness. And misses a chance to apply a hold. Legal punches by Funk. No action. Illegal throw by Londos. Legal arm hold by Londos. Legal leg hold by Londos, and we have blood. Both wrestlers collide and go down. They are both cut. Londos took the worst of it. He's lost 50 points on cuts, and Terry Funk busted open on his lower lip, so they have both taken stamina hits here, and they are both nearing the point where they would lose stamina levels. Londos, no action. A suplex attempt by Funk, no pin. Now, if the match ends on cuts, there is no title change. Let's just point that out. You have to get a pinfall or submission. No accommodation for if a wrestler is cut and the match cannot continue. Forearm to the side of the head by Funk onto Londos, and Londos has lost the stamina level. He was the first to lose the stamina level when we're 7 minutes into the 60-minute bout, maximum of 60. Illegal choking by Funk, 6-point loss for Londos. Pile driver attempted but countered by Londos. Londos with a body scissors hold, no submission. Terry Funk just beat Otto Wands in the Detroit circuit. Wands is now, due to the champion homesteading rule that was just passed last week, he's off to London. And Londos has beaten Jerry Lawler twice, Big Van Vader, and more recently Adrian Adonis. Legal arm hold by Londos, a disqualified check, no DQ. Legal low blow by Londos, so he could cheat with the best of them. I guess to be a champion, you have to be a cheater sometimes. Legal knee by Londos, no action. Auto control loss, control leg lock, but countered by Funk. Now both men have lost stamina levels. Specialty move, spinning toe hold, but you're not going to get Londos with that this early. Suplex attempt, countered by Funk. Outside the ring, Funk using arm holds. And we have a winner, it looks like. Oh, they collided in the middle of the ring and go down hard, and neither, perhaps from the impact of the first time they collided, this is an in-ring double countout. So the match goes 13-37, and Londos will keep the championship. So that was kind of an unusual finish. Double countout, so Terry Funk is going to gain 2 points. Londos will gain no points because you can't lose points on a drawn result. So you have that going for Londos. 13:37 was the time. In-ring collision. And we'll put down, and I'll figure out how to spell collision with a bit more accuracy after I do this video. It was 97/50, 97 damage and 50 on cuts. For Londos, 8230 for Funk. So Londos finding a way to keep the title on around his waist. Match gets 3.5 stars, and just like that, we're done with our card out of Detroit. And we ought to do that again sometime. Hope you enjoyed it. This is kind of a supersized version of the GSW match of the week, celebrating the 100 subscriber plateau that I have hit. And this has been Big Paulie coming to you, wishing you well no matter where you are and no matter when you see this. Godspeed and God bless, and we'll do it all again soon. Bye-bye for now, everybody.